My name is Eleanor, I'm 24, and I keep telling myself I'm not the kind of woman who drifts, not the kind who lets her marriage fall asleep while she's still inside of it. And yet, lately, I feel like I'm watching my own life from the outside, like someone leaned on the pause button years ago, and I never noticed until now. It started with something small, something I haven't even told anyone because it sounds ridiculous when I say it out loud. A man walked past us, tall, black, broad shoulders, confident like the air itself belonged to him, and I felt my eyes flick toward him. Just for a second, just long enough for my husband Mark to notice, and I swear I didn't mean for it to mean anything. But Mark's hand on my waist tightened in that moment. Not affection, not playfulness, possession. His thumb dug into my side like he was trying to remind me whose hand was on me. And I think that was the first time I realized something between us had shifted. I used to love his touch. We were that couple, you know, the ones who couldn't keep their hands off each other in the early years. Quick kisses in the grocery aisle, long hugs in the kitchen where the pasta boiled over because we forgot the stove existed. He used to pull me into him like he was afraid I might disappear, and I used to melt into him because back then, I wanted to be caught. But somewhere along the way, our affection became routine, a habit like brushing teeth. I still kiss him when he leaves for work, but it's a quick press of lips, more about politeness than passion. He hugs me when he gets home, but his arms feel heavier now, like they're closing a deal rather than opening his heart. Sometimes he reaches for my hand in bed. I let him. I always let him. But it feels like I'm giving him something out of loyalty, not desire. He falls asleep quickly. I lie awake staring at the ceiling, feeling like the air between us is full of all the words we stopped saying years ago. I keep asking myself when this started. Was it after we bought the house? After the second miscarriage we never talked about? After the night he came home late and smelled like whiskey and someone else's perfume, swearing it was just a co-worker's hug goodbye? I believed him. Or maybe I wanted to. But I think the truth is quieter than all of that. The truth is that somewhere along the way, we stopped seeing each other, noticing each other, wanting each other in that way that makes you feel young, even when you're not anymore. And so when that man walked past us last week, the one whose name I'll never know, something inside me flickered. Not because I wanted him, not because I was imagining anything, but because for the first time in a long time, I felt my body remember what it was like to be wanted. Or maybe, to want. I glanced at him. My husband felt it. And that's when I realized, it's not that Mark and I don't love each other anymore. We do. It's that somewhere along the way, love stopped feeling like enough. And that thought terrifies me, because I can remember the exact moment everything changed. Mark's hand gripping my waist too tightly, his eyes on me like I was property, not a person. The man disappearing around the corner. And the silence between us, heavier than any words we could have said. That was the moment I knew something had cracked open inside me. And I haven't been able to close it since. You'd think being married to a man who runs into burning buildings would make everything else in life feel small, like the ordinary annoyances wouldn't stand a chance against the weight of what he does. But that's the thing about marriage. It's built in the quiet spaces, the mornings, the dinners, the empty bedrooms after fights. And lately, all the quiet spaces between us feel heavy. After the day with the man walking past, the moment that cracked something inside me, Mark got louder with his love. He came home with flowers the next day, sunflowers because he knows they're my favorite. He kissed me before I had even put the vase on the counter. But there was something frantic in the way he touched me, like he was trying to erase something only he could see. I smiled, because what else do you do when someone brings you flowers? But inside, I felt this small, sharp panic rising. Because Mark always reaches for my body first, always. When he's happy, he pulls me close. When he's angry, he pulls me closer. When he's sorry, he kisses me like I'm a wound that needs stitching. And most of the time, I let him. But lately, I don't want to be touched before I'm seen. That night, he made my favourite pasta, the one with the garlic cream sauce we used to eat sitting on the floor of our first apartment because we didn't own a table yet. I watched him cook, the muscles in his shoulders flexing as he chopped garlic, the way he kept glancing at me like he was trying to read the weather inside my head. When we sat down, he reached for my hand across the table before even taking a bite. "I feel like you're somewhere else lately," he said. I shook my head. "I'm fine." He squeezed my hand. "No, you're not." And then he leaned across the table and kissed me, long, like in the old days. But something in me didn't move toward him, and I think he felt it because he pulled back slowly, like maybe he had just kissed a wall instead of a woman. "I'm trying, Lena," he said, voice low. "I know." And I did know. Mark wasn't cruel. He wasn't careless. He loved me in the ways he knew how. He just didn't know that lately I needed words before hands. I needed him to sit across from me and ask, "What's happening inside you? What hurts?" Instead, he kissed my mouth when I needed him to look me in the eyes. After dinner, we sat on the couch. He wrapped an arm around me like he always did, his hand sliding under the blanket to rest on my thigh. "Babe," he murmured against my hair. And I wanted to say, "Please, not right now," but I didn't, because saying no felt like shutting a door I wasn't ready to close. So I let him hold me. I let him kiss my neck. I let him believe we were okay, because the alternative, saying what I really felt, would break something I wasn't sure we could fix. The room smelled like garlic and the candle he lit for me earlier, and all I could think about was how loud the silence between us felt. Like maybe love can survive a lot of things, time, grief, routine, but not the feeling of being unseen inside your own marriage. It happened again last night. Mark came home late from the station, smelling like smoke and rain, his hair damp, his shoulders slumped in that way that always makes me want to take care of him. "Rough day?" I asked, folding laundry on the couch. "Yeah." He kicked off his boots, came straight to me, kissed me on the forehead, then the cheek, then my mouth. It should have been sweet. It should have felt like connection. But the moment his lips touched mine, my whole body locked up. Not because I didn't want him, because I wanted to want him. But instead of warmth, all I felt was pressure. The kiss felt like a demand I didn't know how to meet. He didn't notice. He pulled back with that crooked smile that used to melt me. "Missed you today," he said. His hand slid along my thigh, fingers curling like he was already claiming what he thought was his. I froze, just for a second, but enough for him to feel it. His hand paused. "You okay?" he asked. "Yeah," I said quickly, too quickly. I put the laundry aside and leaned into his shoulder like I was trying to make up for the way I'd just pulled away. But inside, everything in me felt tangled. He kissed my temple. "You sure? You've been, I don't know, different lately." I didn't answer. Because what was I supposed to say? I don't know why I can't feel you anymore. I don't know why my own body feels like it's shutting a door you keep trying to open. Instead, I just nodded. We sat there for a while, the TV glowing in the corner, both of us pretending we were watching it. His arm was around me, heavy and warm. After a few minutes, he tried again. His lips on my neck this time, his hand sliding across my hip. "Mark," I whispered, too sharp. He pulled back instantly, confusion on his face. "What? Nothing. Just not right now." His jaw tightened. Not angry, exactly. Just hurt. "Right," he said, leaning back. "Long day." Got it. And I hated myself in that moment because I wanted him to touch me. I wanted to feel the way I used to feel when he walked into a room, and I couldn't stop staring at him. But instead, I was sitting next to my husband, feeling like every kiss was a question I didn't know how to answer. The silence between us grew until it felt like a third person in the room. Finally, he picked up the TV remote. "Want to watch something?" he asked, voice careful, like he was walking on glass. "Sure," I said. We sat side by side, the show flickering in front of us, his arm eventually finding its way back around me like he couldn't help himself. And I let him hold me. I always let him. But inside, the words kept circling, sharp and endless. Why does everything have to turn into sex? It was supposed to be romantic. Mark made reservations at that Italian place downtown, the one with string lights in the courtyard and wine bottles for candle holders on every table. He even wore the navy shirt I bought him last year, the one that makes his shoulders look broad and his eyes dark. And for the first 20 minutes, I told myself to relax, to be present. The waiter brought bruschetta. Mark ordered wine. We laughed about something small, the couple at the next table arguing about Parmesan cheese. And for a moment, it almost felt like before. Until it didn't. Because then Mark reached across the table for my hand like he always does. His thumb ran slow circles over my skin, his eyes warm, soft in that way that used to undo me completely. But instead of melting into him, I stiffened, again. And I saw it register on his face, the tiny flicker of hurt before he masked it. "What's going on with you lately, Lena?" His voice was calm, but there was steel underneath. "You flinch every time I touch you." "I don't," I said too fast. "You do." The waiter came back just then with our entrees. Perfect timing. I stared at the plate like it might save me. Mark didn't drop it. "Is there someone else?" My head snapped up. "What?" "I saw the way you looked at that guy last week," he said, voice low, "the one walking past on Main Street." Tall, black guy, like I wasn't even standing there. Oh, so that was it. I felt heat crawl up my neck, anger, shame, both at once. "Are you serious right now?" I whispered. "You looked at him like—" He shook his head. "Like you used to look at me." The words hit me right in the chest, because maybe he was right, maybe I had. And suddenly, all the frustration that's been building for weeks, months, maybe years, came boiling to the surface. "This isn't about him, Mark." My voice cracked louder than I meant it to. The couple at the next table glanced over. I didn't care. "Then what is it about?" he snapped back. I stared at him, my husband, the man who runs into burning buildings but somehow can't see the fire dying right here between us, and everything just broke. "It's about us." My eyes burned. "It's about the fact that you touch me all the time, but you don't see me. You kiss me like it fixes everything, but it doesn't. I need you to talk to me, Mark, to ask me how I am before you put your hands on me like I'm just—" I couldn't finish. Mark just stared at me, stunned. The restaurant clattered around us, dishes, laughter, a guitar player in the corner. But at our table, there was nothing but silence and my shaky breathing. "Lena," he said finally, softer now, "I didn't know you felt this way." "That's the problem," I whispered. The rest of dinner was quiet. He ate a little. I didn't eat at all. On the drive home, I stared out the window, my reflection in the glass looking like a stranger. I hated the way I'd exploded, hated the way Mark's face had closed off, like he didn't know whether to be angry or hurt or both. And underneath it all, shame curled in my stomach like smoke. Because he wasn't wrong about that man on Main Street. I had looked, but not because I wanted him. I looked because for one fleeting second he made me feel awake. And I didn't know how to tell my husband that I can't remember the last time he did. The ride home was quiet. Mark kept both hands on the wheel, his jaw tight, eyes fixed on the road ahead. The only sound was the soft hum of the tires on pavement and the occasional blinker clicking through the silence like a metronome for all the words we weren't saying. I sat angled toward the window, my breath fogging the glass. I wanted him to say something, anything. I wanted him to yell or laugh bitterly or ask the questions I knew were eating at him. Instead,